And of all the superlatives,
Get ready to step into the octagon and witness the prowess of Kamaru Usman, the undisputed champion who is notorious for crushing the dreams of any welterweight title hopefuls. With an unbeaten record in the promotion, this formidable fighter has now set his sights on mastering the art of striking, unleashing a barrage of devastating jabs, crushing crosses and left hooks that leave his opponents reeling. But that's not all. Usman is a master of chain wrestling, leg kicks, merciless clinches, and striking at range, making him a nightmare for anyone who steps into the cage with him. It's not just his brute strength that sets Usman apart, but also his technical skill that has propelled him to the top of the sport.
and in his back.
So whether you're a die-hard fan or a curious newcomer, today we're going to delve into the impressive range of techniques employed by this Nigerian powerhouse, who shows no signs of slowing down or relinquishing his throne anytime soon. Are you ready to witness greatness? Let's step into the ring with Kamaru Usman and find out.
The brothers teach. And that is it. Get ready.
Kamaru Usman was born in Nigeria, who moved to the US at the age of 8 with his athletic family. With a brother who is also a successful flyweight in the Premier League, Usman received his foundation in wrestling during his academic years and won gold in the second division in the US. Despite losing only one fight to a BJJ master early in his career, Usman developed a style of measured control on the ground to avoid making any more mistakes. He even won the Ultimate Fighter show and remains true to his wrestling roots to this day. However, the Nigerian nightmare frightened not only his opponents but also kept the audience at the edge of their seats with his unorthodox approach to fighting.
Coming fight, he went for it over and over and over.
With occasional flashes of future greatness, everything changed for Kamaru Usman in his fight against Tyron Woodley. In that epic battle, Usman went on to claim the promotion's title in 5 rounds, and his confidence grew exponentially, allowing him to face the division's best strikers without any fear. As he put it himself, "I was never the same again" after that fight. The Nigerian has always been predominantly a fincher who builds his tactics on work at the fence. In his arsenal, there are hard low kicks, but he never emphasizes leg strikes. A frontal strike to the body keeps the opponent at a convenient distance. The body kick is designed to instantly hold the opponent in place and open him up for a subsequent attack. In long-range combat, Usman takes advantage of his significant height of 193 centimeters.
Kamaru Usman putting it to Wally Alves here. Oh, huge right hand first fight.
Already at the beginning of his ascent in the sport, he demonstrated competent boxing, but after coming under the wing of coach Trevor Whitman, the Nigerian brought his jab to perfection. Shooting a punch from a neutral position, Usman maintains perfect form and completely hides his intentions by the absence of a windup. At a distance, he transfers the jab perfectly to the body, which later helps to hide the takedown transition.
Yeah, hold of it. Hospital, but oh, look at that turn the corner.
In the first fight against the hated southpaw Colby Covington, Kamaru showed the effectiveness of using his lead hand to block. The block allowed the Nigerian to partially block Colby's quick jab. Usman could also repeatedly attack his opponent without resistance, depriving him of a sense of distance. In the third round, Covington's defense began to crack. With 1 minute left, Usman started unloading on his opponent
He hasn't been able to.
and didn't even feel the left-handed strike in the exchange.
Listen.
In response to Covington's cross, Usman landed a right hand. The second knockdown decided the fate of the high-stakes derby.
Now Usman seeing everything.
An important part of the Nigerian's arsenal is the ability to switch stances, which allows him to catch his opponent with powerful strikes from both hands.
That exchange is what people got really excited about.
In his fight against Sergio Moraes, Usman twice signaled a left cross,
Going to play with their movement.
but a minute later he feinted and switched to an orthodox stance. Moraes was not ready for the maneuver, and Usman was able to capitalize.
Just like the brothers teach.
By varying his footwork, the Nigerian can also surprise his opponents with a lead hook.
Knockdown for Usman.
In the epic showdown between Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns, the fight began with a bang as Usman was knocked down.
Early land for Carino with a right hand.
The first round saw the champion struggling to keep up with the lightning-fast speed of his former teammate.
Good combination.
However, Usman's long-range jabs proved to be a lifesaver,
Nice jab. And he hurt him bad.
forcing Burns to react to empty threats. The second round saw Usman gaining confidence, reducing Burns' aggression. Using clever feints and jabs, he began to play with the change of stance. And then in the third round, Usman did the unthinkable. He knocked down Burns with a powerful left-handed stance, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats.
Huge right. And that will do it.
The weight of Usman's strikes is supported by his rhythm and the movement of his body. He also felt confident as the second-ranked fighter. The weight of his body can also be used to prepare for grappling, and if an opponent has already been on the mat, Usman will make them nervous with numerous feints. In addition to his feints, his fake with his lead hand can trick his opponent into an unmotivated attack for which he will be punished with a powerful counter strike. Usman's cat-like reflexes allowed him to read his opponent's intentions and counter with a successful 1-2 in the first round. In the second round, the champion began with a jump and simulated a left kick, which fooled his opponent, George Masvidal, and led him to expose himself to a perfect strike.
Look at, he's out cold. Look.
All the superlative.
Kamaru Usman's appearance is both armored and his chin perfectly matches his tank-like style, which also highlights his flaws in striking technique. His first fight with Covington exposed his lack of head movement and a habit of dropping his hands after strikes. In the rematch, Usman debuted a left counterhook at the start of the second round and blocked a kick before automatically responding with a lateral punch. The situation repeated itself 2 minutes later, and at the end of the round, Usman threw an uppercut in the scramble but was met with a counterattack and exposed himself to another precise lateral punch. After being knocked out twice in a row, the dazed challenger barely avoided being stopped.
Deep trouble.
Kamaru is far from a bullfighter-style fighter in the cage. As a top-level wrestler, his mere presence forces his opponent to the fence. If the opponent tries to move forward, Usman dives under strikes and effortlessly executes a reactive track down. His takedown through the legs is considered one of the best in the sport today. It's also worth noting Usman's defense, which makes it difficult for opponents to attack his hips. When things go according to plan, Usman impresses with his seamless transitions, quickly finishing his takedowns. However, it's challenging to surprise experienced opponents with a single takedown attempt, so Usman masks his attempts with striking series on the upper level, then immediately transitions into wrestling. If the fight drags on, Usman changes his attack line, avoiding leg trips and opting for body locks and trips. He also has effective counters and can grab the torso to secure a takedown.
Same for that right hand. He's always shifting. See how he takes it?
One of his outstanding qualities as a champion is his use of chain wrestling, where he combines takedown techniques to create opportunities to bring his opponent to the ground, even if the first attempt fails.
Big slam, the advantage. Big slam. Trying to dump Woodley.
In his fight against Tyron Woodley, Usman demonstrated his power by initiating a series of hard strikes in the first round. In the second round, he entered the clinch with punches and immediately set up an underhook. Woodley, seeing the leg trip coming, went for the close leg but was unable to defend against Usman's change of direction, allowing Usman to complete an amplitude throw. Usman also has a variety of standard takedowns and cage control techniques, as well as impressive slams and echoes that reverberate throughout the octagon. For many years, one of Kamaru's strongest positions in a fight has been the clinch. Breaking free from the fence, he delivers a series of exhausting uppercuts designed to deprive his opponent of their remaining strength and resistance. If the opponent actively avoids close contact and fights at a distance, Usman switches to his second number, working on the lower level. When the opponent is slowed down enough, the Nigerian enters a Thai clinch, where he can soundly land uppercuts.
Shots in these exchanges, man. Real good shots.
Continuing to take away his opponent's breath, he delivers a series of penetrating knees and clinches, striking with his elbow. When Woodley lingered near the fence, Usman quickly locked his opponent's head to the fence and simultaneously blocked Tyron's arm, allowing him to freely throw an elbow that shook the calculations of the champion. Another option for Usman is to strike when his opponent thinks they are safe. Thanks to his long levers, he can hit his opponent with a looping punch.
The numbers staying high on the offense.
Hand control at the fence is worth noting, as it provides unexpected options for throws.
Little cut. Drags him right back down to the ground again, inside control.
At the start of the races, Usman's only game plan was to pass to the legs with a subsequent ground and pound. He prefers to attract his opponent to the fence, where he becomes an anchor, forcing his opponent to bear his weight. From a position of strength, the Nigerian inflicts irreparable damage, quickly exhausting his opponent's gas tank. Usman doesn't avoid grappling and controlling his opponent's arms in the Dagestani style to make it easier to transition or remove their head defense when finishing them. Usman's lack of killer instinct had previously been criticized, but fans of brutal fights cited ground and pound scenes as evidence, some of which, it must be admitted, were not impressive in their dynamics.
Still on the losing end.
However, gradually the reputation of the Nigerian Nightmare acquired a completely different meaning. The only move in his career when an opponent easily escaped from a triangle choke dates back to 2015. In subsequent fights, beating the victim's hands and knees from a dominant position was invariably followed. If the opponent accepts the rules of the game, Usman rarely passes guard, relying mainly on his pair of weapons, especially if he successfully passes into mount.
Mask of blood now.
His impressive physical strength allows him to generate serious power from short strikes and knock out opponents.
For the finish right here.
He is pounding here.
Kamaru Usman was the reigning UFC welterweight champion and suffered a shocking loss to Leon Edwards in their rematch on August 20, 2022. Despite being heavily favored to win, Usman was knocked out in the 5th round, marking his first loss in the UFC. But the story doesn't end there. In just a few weeks on March 18, 2023, Usman will have the chance to redeem himself in a highly anticipated third fight against Edwards for the UFC welterweight championship at UFC 286. Will Usman be able to reclaim his title, or will Edwards continue his winning streak? Fans are eagerly anticipating this historic bout. Kamaru Usman has defeated some of the best knockout artists in the world and has an impressive 35 title defenses to his name. And now, he's on the verge of breaking Anderson Silva's record for the most title defenses. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analysis of your favorite MMA fighters.